Alright, so today we will see what? So destructuring assignment. Yeah, we have discussed so far objects and arrays. We know many syntax to create objects, access properties, and then also we have learned a lot of methods, right, to use these objects and arrays. So destructuring is a relatively new concept in JavaScript. This was introduced part of ECMAScript, you know, ES5, yeah, or ES6 actually, yeah, ES6, which is in the year 2015. Very useful syntax. It is, it's a syntax to destructure. So we have object, we have array. So that's kind of some structure, right, to store the data. Yeah, array stores in a sequential like ordered list. Okay, whereas object stores key value pairs. Now, yeah, we will learn a syntax of what is destructuring assignment. Okay, let me show you a simple example. With that, we'll try to explain what it is and why we need destructuring also. We'll understand. Okay, so this syntax is heavily used uh, in specifically React and JavaScript. Yeah, and this basically simplifies JavaScript code. Yeah, it basically makes your code uh, concise. Yeah, unnecessary we can avoid a lot of checks. Okay, let's take this example here. Okay, what they've given. So you got John and Smith. Yeah, you got two values in an array, John and Smith. Uh, Now what we can do with that John and Smith? This is an array. Now what if I want to put these values, John and Smith, in different variables? How will you do it? The option that we have, okay, sorry, I think this is disturbing more. Let me go for onecompiler.com and then JavaScript. Okay, or we can, I think, use the JavaScript console also. Let's see. Okay, I'll use this console. Let's see how this works. What I'm saying? So we use this console. So let's say we have an array and that array has two or three items. So now select array is equal to, I think I've copied already, Jan and Smith. Only question is, how do I extract these two values into separate variables? Sometimes I have to extract. For example, what if it is this is first name and this is last name? So generally how we do first name is equals to using array index 0. We can access array of 0. Yeah, says array is not defined. Okay. Okay, let me just define it once again and then I'll try to assign. Interesting. Interesting why this console says it's not defined. Okay, let's come back to the console then. Okay, so the syntax is, let's say I've created an array with two values and I would like to extract into their independent variables. I would like to have them in a separate variables. So in that case, I'll say first name is so and so, array of 0, yeah, and then I have to extract second name, last name as array of 1. This is how we extract the values from the array, correct? So let's say what if I have somewhere like here I have email, okay, test@gmail.com. How do you do? Again you write email is equal to array of 2 because that is in. So now,
Or we can write that length minus 1.
yeah, it's possible to use length minus 1 also. But see, this destructuring is a very simple syntax compared to this. You don't have to write too many lines like this. I don't have to tell which is the index. All I have to do is, let's say I want to destructure it. Yeah. So instead of even storing it, instead of storing it in a separate variable like array, if at all I'm interested in only, you know, extracting into individual variable, I can put square brackets because if it's an array, last name, comma, email, and then I assign these values or this array. I can use this array directly, or I can use even the variable this side. And here we use const. So this syntax of extracting values into individual variables is actually called destructuring. And you see this syntax is so, you know, short and simple one also. You don't have to write 3 lines, correct? I don't have to write 3 lines. So now I get the values into each of their variable, and it will avoid unnecessarily declaring three separate variables and then writing assignment. All that is eliminated. All I am doing is, okay, I have to do just a destructuring. I'm just trying to log the value. Let's see if the destructuring has worked. See, it has worked. First name, last name. Now this syntax, yeah, was newly introduced. So let's say I only want first name and last name. I don't want email. Then I can say first name and last name. Yeah, and this is basically array destructuring. This is how we destructure an array. Okay, we are not destroying it. There is nothing happens to this array. Let's say I have a variable called let array like this. Okay, I'll show you the other way. So this will not remove that array. This will not delete that array. That original array will be there as is. No, nothing happens to this. Only thing is we are extracting these individual values into a separate variables. Why I'm extracting? Yes, in my function. That's what I want to do it. I need for something, or I have to convert this array into an object. I want to extract into separate properties. That is when this syntax comes handy, right? So this is a basic form of destructuring. Yeah, there are variety of syntax actually. So let's see one by one. Now we extracted it, fine. Yeah, let's say we would like to ignore some element. In the middle there are some values, but I just want to skip it. Yeah, if you use a comma, an extra comma here, you see what they're saying is it is going to actually remove, or it is going to skip this middle value, and this value will be assigned to title. Okay, uh, let me show you. Okay, let me show you. Let's see this example. So let's copy what I'm saying. So we can actually, while taking this value, it is also possible to skip some values. How? Using this comma syntax, meaning I don't want to, I don't want to store last name. Yeah, assume like this is his last name, but I just want his title. Correct. So this assignment, the way it happens is in the same order in which the values are there. So this is first name. This will be assigned to first name. This will be assigned to last name. But what if I don't want this first name, or you know I don't want the last name actually? Then I can say one comma here, and then I can say okay title. Now the title will be the this one council. Yeah. So this value is skipped. So using, let's say you want to skip one more value, you can put one more comma. Getting it? So we, so this is a way to skip some elements while destructuring. Yeah, this is a way to do skipping the elements. Okay, some more syntax. works with any iterable on the right side. See, string, okay, string are kind of iterable. You might be knowing because the way we access strings in JavaScript, again, we can access using an index like str of 0, str of 1, str of 2. That's the syntax we can use, correct, to destructure the elements. So even for that syntax, yeah, even for that syntax, we can apply destructuring so that this string is extracted into separate variables. It's not just works with array, so any iterables we can use. Yes, we also have something called a set, yeah, data structure, and even we can use an array destructuring to extract the elements from that set as well. All right, so that's how the array destructuring works. Yes, let's see another example. We can use any assignables on the left hand side, meaning let's say I want to have some property, new property which is created under user. Yeah, so what they're saying, this syntax, assume like, okay, you already have let me go back to the first example. So let's say you already have a user. You want to create or you want to extract this into a user object, the array values. So that way, how you can do is, yes, you put first name, comma last name is equals to array. This was our previous example. But what if I want these two properties or these two are the properties of should be within this object? Then I can say user dot first name and user dot last name. So now I will just check if user object is there. So user object will have both first name and last name as a property. Correct? You see, we are displaying the object. So on the left side, yeah, even it can be properties. There is one more syntax. Let's say we have a for of loop. Recently we learned this method. Remember what is object.entries? Can you tell me what is object.entries? Any idea what is object.entries?
Keys and paste. It will whole object it output.
Correct. So if I use object.entries, basically I'm going to get both key and values. It's a method like similar to what? You know object.keys and object.values. So let's see what is the value of you know the object.entries. See, we got key value. Now what they're showing, yes, let's say you would like to iterate through this loop using for loop. Yeah, you would like to iterate through this loop. Then you can use key comma value. So they're saying how you can actually apply this of object.entries. This is another example. Now here you want only key, only value. So it's up to you what you want to display it. But so this syntax of destructuring can also be used in a for loop like this. You got name and age. So likewise, we can see that there are a lot of usage of this destructuring. Swapping a variable. This is another well-known trick. Let's say I have first name and last name. Okay. So I have first and I have last. Okay. Let last. How will you exchange these two variables? What if I want to exchange the value of first into last and last into first? The answer they say is, okay, yes. So you put here, okay, first comma last, fine. This side you put last comma first. So then you're assigning last value to the first and first value to the last. This is a swap. You just want to exchange without using another variable. You might have seen this programming question trick being asked, how do you exchange two values? Yeah, there are examples with using extra variable, without using a temporary variable. So now on first and last, if I check, they will have a value which is exchanged. Right? First as last, last as first. Okay, right? Yeah. Now let me show you one other variation of this. Yeah, there is one variation of this, which is, let's say I am trying to assign a value. Yeah. So let's take an example of, okay, A, B, C I'm writing. But this side array has only 2 and 3. What is it? I'm trying to destructure it, but I don't have this value. What will be the value of C if I try to log? What will be the value?
Undefined.
Undefined. But I don't want this undefined actually, but I want to give some default value. If this value is not coming in this array, if I am not receiving that value, I want to give some default value. So that default value, I can directly mention it here. If in case this C is not coming, instead of assigning undefined, then just assign 4. So now the C will have 4. Let's say I pass a value from here, then C will get this value than this value. You can see that. So this is called default assignment while destructuring. Okay, so let's quickly recap what we have learned. Yeah, so we have learned it is possible to destructure array values into the separate values, correct? So we can take any array and then we can, yeah, either use let or const syntax. So we have to create, yeah, we have to mention the variable names first and last, and then we can assign it to an array, or I can assign it to a variable which holds the list of array elements, correct? And then so this order will basically assign values into respective variables in the same order. We saw one syntax where we can skip the values also. Let's say I don't want a middle value. Assume this has 3 values. I can skip in between values using extra commas. I can add one more comma if I want to skip another value. Okay, so that is one more option. Yes, as a syntax, we can use it even using in a for loop wherever we find an array. Yeah, and then we saw how to exchange a value. Now we have seen how to have a default value if unable to extract from this particular array. Alright, so this is actually called array destructuring. Okay, I think there is one more syntax to it. Let me tell you what is it. Okay, yeah, with array destructuring only. I thought this will be the last, but let me tell you what is that syntax. Imagine I have, so many elements in my array. Yes, I did destructure it. Yeah, I did destructure and I'm trying to give name for each of the variables separately. Each of the name, each of the items separately. But I don't want to, lose the other elements, which means, let's say this is first, this is second, fine. Okay, but array as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9. What if I want these things to be, into a separate array itself? I just want to extract these two, but I want these remaining ones into a separate variable. That is where we use this operator called spread or rest operator actually. What is this operator? Rest operator. We put 3 dots and then say, okay, we can say rest of them. Just for name, we can give anything we want. Okay. Uh, Yeah, we can name anything you want actually. Let's say I want to name it as array. Then if I check what is there in an array, if I check what is there in an array, I am going to get a sub array which is starting from 4, 5, 8. What I'm going to get? I'm going to get a sub array starting from 4 till 8. Let me comment this so that I'll not have any issues with the variable names and all. And now I'm running this program. Observe what happens now. See, in the destructuring, I'm also able to extract a part of an array into another array. So by just saying dot dot dot, so that I'm only naming these two, but I'm not skipping. I want them for a separate purpose. So this is also a syntax variation which is available.